You've waited a lifetime to look better and feel better, and now here's your chance. Fitness Friday on WNDB. Call 239-0033 and have your questions answered on health, fitness, and a better life. Fitness Friday is brought to you by Bodez by Tasso & Company, 1140 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. And now, here's your host, Tasso Kyriakis.
Welcome to Fitness Friday, and a very special day on Fitness Friday because today, Fitness Friday really takes a step forward in expanding and becoming a more complete show when it comes to helping people with their health. Over the years, we have talked about proper nutrition, we've talked about proper productive exercise and positive motivation. Well, to augment us and to put together the proper nutrition and the real perspective and to raise more awareness of what's going on out there, we've now entered into a great marriage with Love Whole Foods. And in the studio with us today, we have the owner of Love Whole Foods, who is Mitchell Booth. Mitchell, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone out there. It's a privilege to join Tasso in addressing a lot of these issues that I've listened to him on his program tackle and be successful in helping the community reach total wellness.
The other guest we have today is a guy who's brought back what do you call us? The Aki and Wacky of the health and fitness industry, Carl.
Exactly, perfect words too, perfect description. I'm glad to be here with my two friends.
Who's Wacky and who's Aki?
I'll let you two guys figure that one out.
Actually, we could be the three Italian brothers, Aki, Wacky, and Tacky. We just got to think who's going to be who.
Three stooges, I guess.
So Mitch, you have worked with Carl. I've known Carl from the years back when you were in radio with I-99, I-100 it was called, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
yes.
we were together over there, and we've known each other. And actually, first time I met you, you had a back rehab situation, and we worked on that. And you put a gym in your home, and we've done some work together. And Mitch has been working with you for a while. So
24 years. I think I was maybe one of the first customers walking in his store at the Trail Shopping Center when he opened.
Right. We were located presently where the Talbots is located is where we opened 24 years ago. And I remember both you and I remember when your wife both came in the store the first time.
One of the things that I took up early, in my career is eating habits. I had a problem diagnosed with high blood pressure back in the 70s when I first actually came to this area. Went to a doctor, gave me medication, and I took it like one day and I got deathly sick.
Right.
I read a book called How to Live Longer by Nathan Pritikin. It was an invaluable book for me. Got on the program, started buying my foods shortly thereafter, organic foods or supplements at Love's. And from here on end, I said to myself, look, you got to take care of your own personal health because nobody else is going to do that. Right. I mean, doctors can help you, no question about it, and they do a fairly good job. But in order to be responsible about yourself, your own health, you have to do it yourself. And
a lot of people, Carl, won't invest in their own health. They won't make the investment. And as I was coming in today, someone said, "How's business?" I bet you're busier than one-armed paper hanger with January being here. And I said, quite frankly, we don't experience that burst because of the service-oriented culture that we have. We don't see that huge growth in January because people go out and they join the $10 facilities or because the unfortunate thing about all this is the majority of people that go into a fitness or weight loss program and even health program for smoking cessation, when they go into it, they go in with the expectation of failing because they say, well, I've tried everything else. I just might as well do this right now. Or they go in and they think they're going to fail from the outset. So they don't want to make an investment where the commitment's there. And without commitment, you're not going to, when Mitch made his commitment, and I want to backtrack just a little bit. I've always been someone that was I was blessed to have a mom who cooked for me and did all the cooking. And Mitch will tell you the Mediterranean diet is probably one of the healthiest ways to eat. And my mom, to the day she passed away, cooked exactly like that. And we went home, and I told you guys she lost her sense of smell. She got in her 90s. I'd wake up in the morning on Saturday morning because she'd get up at 3:30 and start cooking her sauces, and she'd be simmering the garlic in the pan, and I was waking up with the taste of garlic in my mouth, going, "Wow, what did I eat?" I hadn't eaten anything yet. But about 18 months ago, the moderator of the roundtable, who was actually my guest here last week, Phil Kaplan, did a presentation called Shock and Awe. And the Shock and Awe really talked about a couple very basic points. The food we eat is not the food our grandparents ate. The quality of it has dropped immensely. We have things going on like genetically modified organisms and it's a capitalistic move from the standpoint of, hey, listen, we want to increase the amount of profit we can get. And corn now is almost 100% genetically modified, unless you find it where it's organically grown. We talked about the quality of milk, and we had a speaker that came onto our roundtable that had written a book that talked about the evolution of the grain that we have in this country now. Mm-hmm. And I never, you think of it, I'm a scientist, so you think of it as science fiction that someone's going to feed you food that's going to genetically change your DNA and makeup. Well, Mitch has been talking about this for years. I would hear about it, and our good friend Jim Schultz, who has been on a mission with Fluoridation of Water, has been out there going around, and they pretty much thought Jim was a whack case, talking, what's this crazy talk he's talking? And, we would have put the tag on Mitch of flower child, and, he's growing his own herbs in his backyard. Well, what he was ridiculed for is now the mainstream. We have Dr. Oz talking about it. We have people, and gluten-free, which is now really popular. Mitch was talking about when you walked in that store 24 years ago. So, Mitch, tell us a little bit about the growth. And first of all, tell them about where Love Whole Foods is, because you have two remarkable facilities now in the area.
Thanks, Tasso. Most of the listeners are familiar with our location at 275 Williamson Boulevard. We're right next to the Regal Cineplex. Our journey of 24 years has now led us to the ability to open our new store at 1633 Taylor Road, which is just west of I-95. Taylor is the same as Dunlawton. It's just on the west side. It becomes Taylor. We're one block west and directly opposite the public shopping center there. But Tasso, you're right. 24 years ago, my wife and I contracted with the Land Bakery to create a bread that was meeting the needs of mothers who were having children with what we now have a term for. It's called gut dysbiosis. For the listener, it as an upset tummy. The child goes and eats a sandwich, and then suddenly the stomach's distended like a Biafran baby starving. And we quickly realized that there was a need for not just organic food, but prepared food that mothers could trust so that their children didn't suffer. That gluten bread has now led a bakery that was just a standard bakery is now the largest producer of gluten-free baked goods on the East Coast of the United States. I feel real good about that. Organic fruits and vegetables. Love Whole Foods was the first to introduce a consistent supply of organic fruits and vegetables, again, starting over 2 decades ago. And I have to tell you, as Carl knows, and Carl and his wife were one of our few customers that understood that investment. But and you remember those dark days, we threw out more organic fruits and vegetables than we sold. But that was the commitment that we made not only to our family's health, but to our communities, and that's paid off. Tasso, let's look at your mom. Your mom lived to the 90s. My mom's 92. What's real interesting is that both of those women experienced life where they didn't even talk about organic fruits and vegetables. I remember talking to my grandfather in the 60s. You mentioned the hippies. My grandfather grew up on a farm in Utica, New York, looked at me and said, well, what other kind of food is there? But this is when this was a farmer that knew what the honey wagon is. Our buddy Jordan Rubin has reintroduced the honey wagon for the listeners out there that don't have that blessing. That's the wagon where the muck out of the excrement of a barn wasn't just eliminated, it was utilized as fertilizer. This is before Dow Chemical and better living through chemistry got a foothold in the psyche of America. But let's look at those two women. My mom's 92. When she goes for a wellness checkup, we've reached the point where her doctor takes out the prescription pad to start writing a prescription. My mother says, well, what are you doing? And he says, well, I'm writing you a prescription for a statin drug. And she said, well, what are we doing that for? Well, my cholesterol profile's perfect. And he says, well, you're 92.
Right.
And my mother's response, my mother's a pretty remarkable woman. We'll hopefully, as in future shows, we'll talk about her. She was a great deal of influence on the path that I took. But her response to the white lab coat was, I don't have stupid tattooed on my forehead, young man, and took his prescription, tore it up, handed it back to him. So that's what I'm hoping is the kind of thing that we can talk about here. Carl's mother, the same. Now, it isn't just that we're old gray-haired, over-the-hill boomers. We need to harvest that memory of women that knew how to cook. That's what we've done with our cafe at both of our stores now. For those, and we're not going to turn the clock back. The women listeners out there are going to say, oh, well, that's real easy. That's back in the Leave It to Beaver days when, I don't know what her name was, something Cleaver.
June Cleaver.
June Cleaver was making dinner. That ain't going to happen. Well, what we've done is I've gathered some incredible artisans in both cafes at both locations so that moms can come in and say, listen, I don't have time to prepare this, but I want to be able to know that I'm giving my family a food that if I had the time, this is what I would do, and I'm comfortable that I'm not going to create an imbalance. Remember, Tasso, you and I share the same attitude. We don't believe in disease. Carl, the same. Hypertension is not a disease, it's an imbalance. If you're using sodium as a primary ingredient or the only ingredient in your spice cabinet, or when you go out to eat, you're going to have hypertension. That's not a disease. That's a bad food choice.
And let's elaborate on that, because the last year and a half, 2 years, I've really focused on this show about talking about the disease continuum. We started health. Our lifestyle, our food choices, everything we do moves us towards a point of dis-ease. Dis meaning the absence of ease in our body. We make bold claims last week on the show. We said we can cure disease, hyphenating to dis-ease, because as people move and get to where they get to where they start to have medications, they make the error thing saying, well, the doctor fixed me. He gave me something. He didn't fix you. He held status quo. And there's side effects to all these things that go on to the drugs they give you. And that's why we want to move you back to health. And that occurs by the exercise. And you have a theme that we're going to get on in a minute of live, laugh, and lift, or love, laugh, and lift. And we want to carry that theme home.
That's been our motto for 24 years. Love. Right. The name's on the door. Laugh, because laughter actually stimulates a chemical response in the brain and actually through the whole physiology that is basically a incentive for the body to reach that balance point and then lift. The reason we've made this new arrangement where we join the best physical fitness professional resource in our community with what I consider and what my family has worked hard, the best nutritional resource, is that if you're not lifting, you can eat a ton of organic food and it'll still not give you the optimal benefit that you're looking for. We don't want just adequate nutrition. We want super nutrition. We want optimal nutrition. I don't want minimum daily allowances, which is what the government standard is, for example, on vitamin C. What we want is optimal nutrition so that we don't have conditions like depression, inability to sleep, sore muscles, inability to recover from a workout that in years past would have been nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That,
well, no one wants mediocrity, and that's what minimum is. If you meet someone, I'd say, hey Carl, how you doing? And he goes, I'm doing okay. I wonder in the back of my mind, oh, what's wrong with Carl? What happened to Carl? Is something wrong? The business isn't going good. He doesn't feel good. What's going on? Hey, we have a caller real quick from the. This is a friend of ours that we're actually going to be at her show, the Holistic Health Fair, that's occurring down at the I want to say Big Tree because that's the way I remember it, Big Tree Plaza. But Kathleen Zarenko. Hello, Kathleen. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Good. And you're going to be joining me in the weeks to come on the show so we can promote your health fair because this is your 13th one. And a good friend of mine named Tasso Spanos made me aware of your show. And I told you that Mitch and I were going to be there. We're going to get WNDB to get us a big banner. And we're going to be there to talk to people and meet people at your show on March the 30th, I believe, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yes, and it's indoors at the Sunshine Park Mall.
Okay, I still call it Big Tree Mall.
Yeah, it's in South Daytona. It's 2400 South Ridgewood Avenue, and we have about 100 vendors already signed up. We expect over 1,000 visitors, so it's going to be huge. And we're so honored that you will be there and promoting love, laugh, lift. I just absolutely love that. And I love your All Fitness Friday, and we are just so honored that you, the Tazo of Bodez and Mitch of Love's Whole Food will be there. What an honor. And we are so grateful, and we thank you so very much.
Now, Kathleen, as someone who's obviously lived a lifestyle consistent with what Mitch promotes, what do you think of this marriage between Mitch and Bodez?
Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is exactly what we need in this community. This is what works. Yes.
Well, Kathleen, I look forward to having you on the show next week with us to talk a little bit about your health fair. I appreciate you calling in, and I look forward to it. And we'll talk next week so we can be on the show. And because I know we got Dr. Fahn coming in for his testimony this week as well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, Kathleen. So, Mitch, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I saw Kathleen was on the phone, and I think that's a big endorsement of what we're getting ready to do. And as I started the show, we're going to expand what we do in both of our fields because now we have the infrastructure to support each other, to educate. One of the things we want to do is get educational resources going. You mentioned a guy named Jordan Rubin, who is someone that I've already had conversation with the people who were close to him about getting him to come up here. He was a great presenter because you actually had him up when you presented to the community that you're opening your second location, didn't you?
That's correct. In February of 2011, we had a tent event featuring Jordan Rubin as a guest speaker, and we put on that event with a tent. And of course, Carl here knows it well because his wife Cynthia provided the entertainment. She was the harpist. She kept the troops sort of entertained until Jordan showed up with his limo, and but at that time, the folks at Garden of Life and Jordan Rubin wanted to support what we had done at that point for 22 years of again, just waving that flag of food as medicine, and Jordan again invited the community to support Love Whole Foods, and of course 1 year later, it was a little bit less than 9 months later, we started construction, and then of course of November of last year, November 25th. We opened our second location in Port Orange.
And so people can get there by going out to Taylor Road, getting off 95, heading west 1 block, and then they can get to you at Ormond Beach by getting 95 and heading east and turning right at Williamson. You'll be on the left-hand side. And it's more than a vitamin shop, right?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to point out. This guy Mitch, of course, he's knowledgeable. You're not going into just a vitamin store. You're going into a store of knowledge. And I think I must say to you too that the people that work over there are very, very knowledgeable as well. And I think that's important because people go in sometimes not knowing what to get. There are thousands of supplements out there, and the mixtures and whatever. He knows it all, and that's what's so amazing about this guy. He talks to the people. You can hear him talk, throughout the store.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
and that's important.
I'll say
Every greeting is a new seminar.
There's certainly enough feedback on. Sometimes it's a little too loud. It's the passion is what takes over, and sometimes you can get. You don't want to be like a holy roller, but you're right, Carl. I've worked hard at finding a team of workers that are as passionate as I am. And now that my time's being split between the two stores, it's even more important to let the listeners know that if I don't happen to be there, there are qualified, passionate people that are carrying that banner. I'm normally in the Ormond Beach store in the morning and the Port Orange store in the afternoon, but listeners can contact me by just calling the numbers that'll be announced at the end of the show, and they can make arrangements. They can meet. They can make arrangements for me to meet them in any way that I can help them out.
Well, the one big point I want to push home is that we started on the passion. When I remember my first president. In fact, you were one of my clients when I came all excited because Nautilus had asked me to speak at the national convention, mm-hmm. and the theme of that presentation I made was mission, vision, passion. Is that we have to understand what our mission is. We have a mission statement at Bodez. I don't think it's too different. We don't have a neat phrase. I've been trying to find the neat phrase over the years, but listen, I'm good with love, laugh, and lift. I'll buy into that. But our mission was to dramatically and positively improve the quality of life of our community. And the two key words were dramatically and positively. And then you have to have a vision of where you want to go. When I was in that 800 square foot room at Omega 40, I knew I wanted to be something bigger. Mitch, when he started out at Trails, knew he wanted to be bigger.
Right, we started at 1,000 square feet, and now both locations are multiple thousands, well over 8,000 square feet.
And then you need to have the passion, and that's the hardest thing to find. And it's the hardest thing to instill in people sometimes, because with passion, you have to have, if you just have passion and you don't know what you're talking about, you run around, you're a maniac running around bouncing off the walls, making no sense at all.
I think getting them into your place, both places, is a start. And,
right.
And people have to have a start. And I think once they see some progress, once they see some results, they're going to be passionate about it. And I think that's important.
Right. We got two callers, and we're actually going to have to look at closing the show here. But Jim, welcome to the radio show. How are you today, sir?
Well, I'm fine. I'm thankful for both of you being out there. Obviously, you folks have the passion. I have the passion on lots of different issues. I picked up the fluoridation issue a few years ago because I couldn't think of anything that just was so wrong that could be changed so easily. And yet I found out it wasn't easy to get city government or the health department to even acknowledge an issue.
Well, Jim, it's a big education process. I've run into that on several fronts with Mayor Kelly, and I think Mayor Kelly is a great guy. I love him very much, but we're going to have to educate him and his staff to a lot of things in regards to supporting the community and the business community and the health of our community. So this is a topic. I hope you're excited about this marriage between Love Whole Foods and Bodez Personalized Fitness. And I know you're going to be a regular contributor to us. And let's real quick, we're going to jump over to Kate real quick. Hi, Kate. Welcome to Fitness Friday.
Oh, hi. Just want to congratulate you on the partnership. That's terrific. And I also am glad you're going to be at the health fair. I've been to 3 of them, and I've learned so much. The atmosphere is great. Everybody's friendly, and I've learned a lot of things that have helped me be healthier.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kate. And, Mitch, next week we're going to have to go to the theme of Cruise Ship Earth because we never got to it today. So that'll be our first official show. This show is to announce and introduce the guy that brought us together because we've talked about it over the years. I remember going in to try and meet Mitch 10 years ago. It was like trying to meet me when you walk in and say, says, Mitch is over there. And I go over there, you go over there, and you go over there. And he goes, oh, he's educating people. So I appreciate, Carl, you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. I expect you to be here a lot more.
I hope so. Thanks for
inviting me. And Mitch, next week we kick this road show off on an official kind of capacity, and we start to really dramatically change the health and eating habits of our city and our community.
And I want to say thank you, Carl. It was like a homecoming. And I just need to tell the listeners, I'd like to dedicate an evening program to Carl. Carl walks the talk, and he's a foot soldier. I mean, he's not an MD. He's not a DO. He's not a DC. He's just folk, just like everybody that's out there listening. But he's done what we all want to do, which is due diligence. Do your homework. Go on the internet at arm's length, and then distillate what it is going to be the best for establishing that overall wellness and balance in our lives, and that's why we're all here. That's what the whole goal is.
Well, I'll tell you the testimony of Carl is that if you had a picture of Carl 20 years ago when I first met him, a picture today, he looks better today, he's stronger today, and he smiles a lot more today than he is.
Amen, brother. I'll testify that. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I have a photograph to verify that.
My hair has changed color.
That's all. Listen, better gray than gone. That's my motto. Listen, we've got to take a break and bring Dr. Fawn in with his testimony of the month. So remember, Bodez by Tasso and Company and Love Whole Foods in Port Orange. The phone number there is 767-6543. The phone number in Ormond Beach is 677-5236. And I'd like to remind you as we go to break that Bodez Personalized Fitness is still offering. We're holding over the $13 down, $13 a month membership offer for the first 3 months of your fitness journey starting. A great opportunity for you to get in fitness and have a supervised program.
Thank you very much.
Like a flower unfolding in the morning sun, love becomes more beautiful as it blooms. It's captured in every glance, in every moment you share, and reflected in the brilliance of the diamond she wears from Granada Jewelers, beachside in Ormond Beach. It's that very brilliance that's brought so many great loves through Granada Jewelers' doors. Our reputation for diamonds of enduring beauty is legendary. Fashionable designs, impeccable craftsmanship, greater selection, and simply the best value we believe you'll find anywhere. It's made Granada Jewelers the preferred choice for engagement and wedding rings. Your trust in us is not lightly taken. We know how much these rings mean to you, and this is our promise. Like your unfolding love, the beauty of your Granada Jewelers diamond will grow day by day. Granada Jewelers, your hometown professional jeweler, 177 East Granada Boulevard, beachside in Ormond Beach. Wouldn't you rather say? It came from Granada Jewelers.
Hi, this is Mark Bernier. The next time you have a plumbing problem, turn to my friends at Mastercraft, doing it right the first time. They're on Brentwood in Daytona Beach with 45 radio dispatch trucks at the ready. They're able to tackle problems with a guarantee to show up on time, solve your problems, doing it at a cost-effective basis, and if you ever need them to come back, they're going to do it and take care of the problem immediately. The most reliable Mastercraft Plumbing from Jacksonville to West Volusia at 252-7047, proud sponsors of the Bernier program.
Are you afraid of the number 13? Are you afraid of being unhealthy, overweight, overtired, and just plain fat and worn out? Well, 13 is now your lucky number. Tasso here from Bodez Personalized Fitness in Ormond. That's right, $13 can change your health, energy, and body appearance. $13 starts your fitness membership and $13 a month for the first 3 months of your membership. We'll use our Smart Start Fitness program and our Fitness Passport to begin your program and set you on the path of better health, energy, and fitness. My Bodez team and I will coach you, assist you, and guide you to success. Call 672-6464. That's 672-6464 to set your no-obligation consultation. Remember, $13 down, $13 per month for the first 3 months to start your fitness journey. My staff and I are motivated and committed to you getting results. That's the difference you'll find from the moment you walk in our program and begin your journey. So call 672-6464 to start your fitness program with only $13 down and $13 a month for the first 3 months. And of course, all of our memberships have a 30-day money-back satisfaction guarantee.
Is your snoring driving your spouse crazy? Hate your CPAP mask? Want to be free to travel without lugging your CPAP machine? Great news! There is an alternative and it works. Oral appliances are a proven treatment for snoring and sleep apnea. Go see the Snore Gal.
Hi, this is Dr. Elsa Whitbold. Yes, some people do call me the Snore Gal. At Florida Snoring and Apnea Solutions, we specialize in making oral appliances for snoring and sleep apnea. We can free you of your CPAP and maybe get you back in the bedroom. Visit our website, snoregal.com.
Call 239-0033 for Fitness Friday and your host, Tasso Kyriakis. Here's Tasso.
Double videos, huh? Wow. Well, welcome back to Fitness Friday. We've gone into the world of video and audio now. So now I have to keep my back to the camera because, as Mike Gelati says, I have a face for radio.
We're going to get a little pancake on your forehead there.
There you go. So Dave, usually when Dr. Fon comes in, he has to introduce me to his person because he has to tell me about that person. Today, I don't need that courtesy from Dr. Fon because I'm familiar with this guy. And you're familiar with Tassos. Dr. Price, welcome to my radio show. So, and let me pull that a little bit closer to you.
All right.
There we go. All right. Dr. Fon's over breaking stuff on the other side of the thing. Should we shift one down here, Dave? Should we shift? Okay. So, Dr. Price, you are now going to Dr. Fon, and we're going to talk a little bit about. But let's talk about you. Because I just introduced you to Mitch and Carl, and I said, this is who we want to be when we're in our 80s, So tell everybody a little bit about you, because I know you're familiar with this kind of format.
Oh, yes, I'm used to this. My wife and I are the current national champions in water skiing. We're traditional. We're 3-event. We do tricks, slalom, and jumping. And we've been doing this. This is our 53rd nationals this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and on, let's see, Daytona News Journal, if you go on couple skiing, it will show some of our water skiing on there.
Now your age,
online.
you're still doing the jumping, huh?
Oh, yeah. I set the record this year.
Really? And now, is that the reason why you went to Dr. Fon, from the trauma of the jumping? Or
No, we just, it's one of our modalities that we use. We use pressure point myotherapy.
Right.
Which
that's how we got familiar, right?
You and I are acquainted with. And then for the primary, we don't have an acupuncturist out in the field when we're exercising, or if we get injured, and we do a lot of skiing. Right. We get beat up a lot.
And tell people, I don't think we told people, tell people how old you are, because there's people at home at 60 going, I'm too old to exercise.
No, I'm 86 now.
There you go. So
yeah, my wife is 80. Well, I can tell 83 because she has to give her age when she enters the tournament.
There you
all
go.
the time. So she
normally you
can't
get in trouble for that.
Yeah. But out in the field, of course, we don't have an acupuncturist out there to help us. So we use pressure point myotherapy, which you're very much acquainted with.
That's right.
As an immediate treatment. And then after we get back in, it's one of our modalities to use just regular acupuncture for finishing up and doing further treatment on it.
So to get you to go to Dr. Fon for acupuncture, I know we talked about it probably a year and a half ago when I saw you with Tassos Spanos. What sort of prompted you to go to an acupuncturist, so people understand?
I had at slalom, we fall at 60 miles an hour, and I bounced across the water a few times, and my back was really sore. So I went to that's something that usually we don't use pressure point therapy on. We use acupuncture. So I went into Dr. Fon, and he straightened me out in a couple of sessions.
Now you're obviously pretty flexible because you've been
Yes.
very active with this.
Yes.
You got good core. Dr. Mike Fulton, who is a conservative back care
That's
specialist.
where we cross-train.
Okay, so
in his gym.
That's right. Dr. Fulton, who taught me my rehab, will tell you that when Arthur Jones was inventing the back machine, they used as the model athlete, because consistently across the board, the strongest core they found at any of the athletes they trained were the water skiers.
Water skiers and their backs.
Right. And so he's a big advocate of the strength training, and actually told me about the evolution of the Nautilus machine and the Medex machine for the back because of what they learned. In fact, there was another model that was considered, but they figured if they put that in the general population, people would hurt themselves too much doing the activity that they would go through. So you're under this. You have to have a strong core in what you do.
Yes.
And by the way, that working over at Dr. Fulton's. We'll switch that over to Bodez by Tassos Company real soon. But he's got some of my really good friends over there. Andy, I'm sure, and Rick Pratt, they're great people.
The cheerleader, Rick.
For sure. And he's got Brett. I'm godfather to his son, by the way.
Oh, are you? Oh.
Yeah. And his and then he's got that whole clinic, and his son Brett now is with him.
He's doing family and
and people don't know he exists out there a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you to Green Acres. They go, oh, who's that? Anyway, let's get back to you. So you took some tumbles. So you went to Dr. Fon. Did you go for increase in flexibility, or did you see that as a side occurrence?
No, as a correction.
Right.
Because I get good results from acupuncture. Yes.
Right.
And it's very simple. Anybody can walk in. We use it as a routine treatment.
So you're telling me that what you do is although you were prompted to go to Dr. Fon because you bounced across the water, hurt your back, this is really something that's part of your normal regimen, just to keep your quality of life.
Yes.
And by trade, you're a physician, correct?
I'm head and neck. I'm a surgeon.
Okay.
I had 61 years.
Right.
I put in. Now I'm a ski bum now.
You're a ski bum now.
I ski for the United States.
So it's sort of it's a great sort of story, because here is this active 86-year-old who had a medical career. And then we tend, like I work with a bunch of physicians, and I'll tell them about Dr. Fon, and they need to open their minds. They're a little bit, so as a physician to the community and to your cohorts, what would you say to them about acupuncture to open their mind a little bit from the standpoint of alternative care for them?
Well, there's many things that acupuncture can do that we can't in general medicine. So we'll probably ask Dr. Fon about it, but they treat things that I'm a surgeon. If it's broken, I fix it. But if you want to keep it healthy, then we send it to the
well, Dr. Fon says, before you go cut, come see me, right, Dr. Fon?
I think Dr. Price had some clinical experience with, I think he knew his cousin about John F. Kennedy. Is it?
Well, the person that started that was pressure point myotherapy was
Janet
Tavell, who became the medical doctor for the.
She was the first female medical physician at the White House.
Yeah, at the White House. Right. Yes, she got President Kennedy out of the wheelchair and off the crutches.
Right.
Yeah.
Because who would have voted for a guy in a wheelchair for president of the United States? Like John Kennedy already had an uphill battle.
Who would vote for I think Roosevelt.
But he had already had a term, hadn't he?
When he first went, yeah. Well, yeah.
He had already been president before he was wheelchair bound, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So he had a proven record. I mean, but they were looking at this young, good-looking guy, and I knew he was in a PT accident, but I never knew the history that that he'd been in a wheelchair and crutches, and Janet Travell got him out of that.
Yeah.
And I think she used, as you spoken, she used a myofascial or pressure points also to incorporate to help her recover.
Right.
That's a first cousin to acupuncture.
That's right.
Because I think you're working on meridians with that. So.
That's right.
But it goes hand in hand with acupuncture.
The way our friend Tasso Spanos has explained it to me is that in acupuncture, you have meridians that you treat, and almost the symptomatic treatment is, here's a symptom, I have these spots. Like Dr. Fon at times will say to you, this is a very good spot to loosen up your back, So he goes to a specific, there's a detailed map of where Dr. Fon does, it's like he says, it's quantum physics when you get into it. And then Tasso Spanos will tell you that trigger point myotherapy or myofascial release is a node or a spasm in a muscle. And you know that you can identify the muscle, but you have to find the spasm in order to insult it and stretch it so you can relieve the pain. And so you like I have the books, and we work on clients, and we work on each other and that type of thing. And now, the one thing I always, it's been a 4-year journey for me with Dr. Fon. And, when I first went, I was a typical male. Like I had a friend. Now, imagine this guy is 6'6". He's about 330 pounds. And he has where his joints just ache because he's never worked out. He has a horrible orthopedic history, has arthritis in the family. I think he has some rheumatoid arthritis. So I say to him, I want to send you to my friend Dr. Fon. He goes, well, what's he going to do? And I go well, he's an acupuncture. He goes, oh, no, don't do doctors, don't do needles. I go, no. I said, and I pinch him. I said, can you tolerate that? He goes, yeah. I said, then you can tolerate acupuncture. But one of the biggest fears people have is getting over the quote unquote the needle, or in Dr. Fon's case, the micro healing filament that he's going to put there to help you. Okay, no matter how you say it, Dr. Fon, we see it as a needle. So, but that was the first fear that I had to overcome, and I went because as I say, I reached a point that I was in enough pain that I'd do anything to get out of pain. And I had lost enough quality of life of being able to run around with the youth that I work youth ministry with, that I would try anything. So I went to Dr. Fahn. For me, it was almost immediate results. But I found that the lesson I've learned is acupuncture is a systemic treatment. It begins to clean up the whole system. Your sleep gets better. Your flexibility gets better. Your awareness gets better. Your hormone balance gets better. Speak to that a little bit as both a physician and as a person who has experienced it. Not Dr. Fahn. He can come talk anytime. It's your turn today.
No, you're getting the wrong care. I'm head and neck. I worked in trauma. Somebody goes through the windshield. I repair a fractured jaw or something. But systemically, Dr. Fahn has a little bit more depth and experience than I do. I taught anatomy. Of course, I know every muscle and tendon in the body and every bone. But
in your experience of having acupuncture treated by acupuncture, do you see that effect? Do you see that there's ancillary things that improve?
Yes, it treats systemically more than specifically. In our pressure point myotherapy, we're treating one muscle. That's usually, right. Yeah. And rehabilitating that. But acupuncture is very easy to do, and it has lasting, long effects. It really balances out the system again.
So, Dr. Fahn, our goal is to get people to be more open-minded about acupuncture. And, we have a medical doctor before us who's been a great example of great lifestyle. Although he was a surgeon for his career, he understands the value of what you bring to the table. So talk a little bit about, because I still think one of the greatest starting points for people to understand acupuncture is stress relief.
As Tasso, as I and Dr. Price, we've been discussing how we're going to share with this to our local community people, because our local community people don't know much about acupuncture. Is lack of education and lack of exposure, because they never have an opportunity to learn about the benefits of acupuncture. They never have an opportunity to expose to acupuncture. So this is a golden opportunity for our local community to listen to Dr. Price. He had a vast and a clinical knowledge about, being a surgeon, and he specialized in neck and thoracic area on the upper body. And he taught so many years in a medical school about anatomy and physiology. And he had an in-depth about neuromuscular injury. And and I asked Dr. Price, how do we share this topic so our community that never tried acupuncture, it's a great non-surgical options, and if you have aches and pain, muscle joint, it's worth your time and effort to explore acupuncture. And Dr. Price, may I ask you if you can share with our community, to break the barrier, the skepticisms, and to, get over the fear. How would you share that perspective with our community?
Well, we've accepted it a long time ago. We've been using this as a standard treatment. We treat it like any other referral. But we found that working hand in hand with the acupuncturist, there are many things that they can do that we can't in our medical field. So it's something that I've accepted a long time ago. So we have 3 or 4 physicians in our skiing immediate skiing group that do too. That and magnetic therapy and pressure point myotherapy. We try to use all of them, but we found that using acupuncture is just standard, and our patients, we refer them, and they have amazing success. It really works out well for our treatments.
There's a lot of, we have hundreds and thousands of medical doctors, family physicians or specialists who never exposure or never have a formal education in acupuncture therapy. What would you recommend or encourage them to refer out to acupuncturists if they need some out therapy?
Well, you specialize in so many different things. I have run down the list, and we've referred for a lot of things. It's something that you can just follow up on our treatment we do.
And Dr. Fonda, one thing I want to push, you talk about education, and I think that, I think sometimes your industry suffers from what my industry suffers from, and that is that when I did an interview for people to come work for us this week, and I said to them, I don't care what certification you have, it doesn't mean a thing to me, because we want to teach what we believe in and what our philosophy is. And I think that, unfortunately, there's an opportunity created with all the online educations that there are, that people can go to a weekend seminar for continuing eds of acupuncture, and then they go out and they begin to practice acupuncture. The one emphasis I want to make about you is that this has been your life. This was your career. You weren't a chiropractor or a massage therapist or someone who experimented with acupuncture. You went to school to be a Chinese medical doctor, and in that, the core of your practice was centered around acupuncture. So not only, Dr. Price said that you have many things you specialize in. Why do you have many things you specialize in? Because you have run and learned the core education, and then gone, like you go to Andy Anson in Houston for cancer. You've gone to treatments for arthritis. You go to the continuing eds, but now they're adding to the education and the foundation that you have for treating people. You have at best, now I would estimate an 18-year history of being a practicing acupuncturist and treating people. You've seen thousands of people. Person comes into me, I don't care how good a kid is, I don't care how good their education is coming out of college or certificate program, they're not going to be as good of a trainer as I am with 35 years experience. They're not going to have seen the multitude of people and problems that I've seen and had to work through. So there's an experience part of being acupuncture. So as the medical community looks at acupuncture, they may have a friend who's a massage therapist who took up acupuncture, or a chiropractor who took up acupuncture, but they've been doing it for a limited amount of time. In this case, when you want to care for your friend or your patient, you want to send them to someone who has that experience. I'm very honored that I get a lot of referrals of physicians of their parents to me. That's the biggest compliment I can get, because the doctor says, I know he's safe, I know what he's doing, I know he's going to treat my mom or dad the best that can be treated, and they're going to have the best chance of recovery. The people need to look at you in the same manner because of the commitment you've made to your trade, and that's what it is. And that's why Dr. Price could go to you with confidence. He can tell people to go to you with confidence, and why I have the confidence that I send people to you. And I think people need to take that and understand it. There's a lot of people I could gotten in bed with for nutritional support, because I've now seeing what I don't know. What I do, I went and got Mitch from Love Foods. I think he is the best. When it came to acupuncture, I went and got you now, because I think you're the best at what you do. And I want to build a team of health professionals that you mentioned magnetic therapy. This show here, if it would have aired 10 years ago on this radio station, Dave would have been getting phone calls about, what do you got those wackos on the show for? They're talking about organic food, talking about magnetic resonance, they're talking about eating grass-fed beef, they're talking about acupuncture, they're talking about myotherapy. What the hell's going on with WNDB today, right? Because these have all been ridiculed through the years, quite frankly.
And they use magnetic therapy on thoroughbreds for 40 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't give them a placebo.
That's right.
Dr. Price, right now a lot of horse and dog are using acupuncture, and in the future, 5 or 10 years, you will see a lot of vet are using acupuncture.
Yeah.
But before we leave WNDB, and thank you for tuning in for listening to our live show today, Dr. Price, we got about a few minutes left. If if there are a number of cases in your life that you think that acupuncture is helpful and is a valuable option for our community, would you list a few conditions that you've seen in your life that is very helpful and is benefit to human?
Yeah, well, you see more than I do, but I've been mainly concerned with injury and repair of athletic injuries, and systemic treatment. You see more of that over the period of years that I have. I'm mainly concerned now, after retiring 10 years, of just treating our athletes.
Great. In my, I have at least about 5,000 patients I have dealt in through my life. And if you have spine issue, if you have neck injury, either sport injury or auto injury, and Tasso know that even I can deal with it. And you have lower back and scoliosis, migraines, shoulders, hip and knee. Those are my greatest success area. If you have
Don't forget ankles.
Ankles. Tasso sent me a lot of ankles patient from the football. Seabreeze High School.
And Dr. Fine, I want to mention one thing because it's an add-on to the testimony. We have a young man here from St. Louis getting ready for the NFL Combines. Let me tell you the value of acupuncture to him. When he came here, he was a preferential free agent. That means there was a lot of teams that would invite him in. We identified very early his hip flexibility and hamstring weakness and flexibility. You and I have worked together as we've done on many of these athletes. This young man has shaved us 0.2 of a second. He was a 4.5140. Last week for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he ran a 4.35. That has taken him from being a preferential free agent to a 4th to 6th round draft choice, which means he goes in looking to sign a contract to go into camp instead of getting $1,200 a month for his efforts. That can be a $300,000 turnaround for that young man because we've balanced his nutrition, his acupuncture to get his flexibility and strength back to his hips. That's why his speed increased because you were able to give him the higher knee lift with the hips. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Dr. Fahn is at 615-1203, 615-1203. Thank you, Dr. Price, for joining us. Let's go get another national championship. And remember, $13 down, $13 a month. Call Bodez at 672-6464. That offer is extended. God bless. Have a great weekend. Enjoy race week.
WNDB Daytona Beach, first in local news. Fox News updates at the top of every hour. Online at newsdaytonabeach.com.